What's up, Niner fans? 49ers lost to the Kansas City Chiefs today. I got cooked. They lost 28-18. They got a little cheap touchdown at the end, I don't even know where to start. This was tough. This was a brutal game. I'm glad to be home. I'll tell you that much. It was brutal watching that team in the heat of Levi's Stadium today. Niners had 2 interceptions on Patrick Mahomes, but it didn't matter. They couldn't stop him when it mattered. I mean, the run play he had where he just, rolls out to the left side. Fred Warner misses the tackle. Man, pump fake. He does like a fake, like he's going to shovel pass it. And defense bites on it. And then he runs in and he fakes it again. And he drives down to the side. And then a couple plays later, he gets a touchdown where he just like puts the hit stick. He put the hit stick on Malik Mustafa. And it's just like, what a game. This was horrible. Earlier in the week, Spagnuolo, Spags, the Chiefs defensive coordinator, gave Brock Purdy a lot of praise. I told you, he was trying to soften him up, butter him up, tell him, oh, you're so good. And I love Brock Purdy, and I know he had a bad game tonight, but Spags had him figured out. They knew the Niners can't really run the ball as good as they could without, Chris McCaffrey. They stopped Mason in his tracks, for the most part, and they didn't really have anybody else. So they stopped the run. They forced Brock Purdy to throw into man coverage, and we all know the 49ers cannot beat man coverage. And receivers were banged up today. No Jennings. Debo missed this game pretty much because of the flu. He tried to play, couldn't play. Brandon Aiyuk, he got hurt in this play before he got hurt in this game, couldn't get open. And when he did get chances, he dropped a big pass, and just everything that could go wrong went wrong. There was a miscommunication where Brock Purdy throws an interception to Ronnie. Although, if you look back at again, Brock Purdy, he took, accountability for it. And he did, it was a bad spot by Brock. But it was just a horrible game overall. The 49ers defense played good for the most part. And then they got tired because the offense wasn't helping them out. You get to the red zone, you sputtered, field goals. Again, just like we said, they can't score field goals. And they did. And then in the red zone, throwing an interception in the red zone, that was brutal. The Niners had chances, but Andy Reid and Spags, they literally own Kyle Shanahan. So red zone was rough. Man. But, a lot of people are tearing Brock Purdy down. Every quarterback's going to have bad games. It's not like – this is the thing. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 interceptions too. Patrick Mahomes didn't have the greatest game, but he made the plays he needed to when it mattered most. These 2 teams were very good. And, they came to play. Defenses tried to do their best on both sides of both teams. And unfortunately, the Chiefs made the plays they needed to, and the 49ers couldn't, right? Like I said, those running plays from Patrick Mahomes, you let him hang around. I said it all week. You can't let a team hang around, whether they're good or bad. If it's a bad team, sometimes you let them hang around, you get lucky, or they're just not good enough to finish the job, But if you let a team like the Chiefs hang around, you're not gonna beat them. They're gonna take advantage of it, and that's exactly what the Niners let Patrick Mahomes hang around. Even though he played poorly early on, they let him, do what he needed to do. He was throwing passes over the middle, third down plays. The third down plays, again, are just so brutal. Whenever the 49ers get on third down, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? They can't stop it. Third and long, big time plays on third down, man. And then the 49ers on offense, they just didn't have enough. They had to use Kyle Juszczyk at receiver at a few times because they just were cooked out at wide receiver. It's crazy. Shout out to Ricky Pearsall, made his debut today. It was cool to see that, but you can't expect him to go crazy on his first game back, after being shot 50 days ago. So it's crazy that the 49ers might need another wide receiver. They drafted 2 wide receivers. I don't know, because the big news after the game was Brandon Aiyuk tore his ACL. Most likely, that's what they fear. It's not confirmed. They're going to do more testing. That sucks. Like, I know Brandon Aiyuk hasn't been what he's expected this year. We all thought he was going to be great, but Brandon Aiyuk this year has been horrible. And now on top of it, after getting a big contract extension, he pretty much, writing's on the wall. He tore his ACL. That injury was brutal. Prayers up to BA. hopefully he can make a good recovery and everything. But that's rough. And the Niners are probably going to have to go trade for a wide receiver with the trade deadline coming up. So the injury looked horrible for BA. I hope everything's good with him. And then you got Debo, who he was sick today. We all thought he was going to play. The wrist injury a couple days ago, and then today it was like, now he's sick. That just was all around today. It was just an embarrassing loss because the Niners just cannot get the monkey off their back against Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Chiefs. They're 5-0 against us with Kyle Shanahan at the helm. Just can't beat them. Just can't do it. Yeah, it was bad. The 49ers couldn't run the ball. They just couldn't get that run game going. And when Kyle can't run, you're forced to throw, right? And if they're going to play man coverage, they were bringing those blitzes all day, and it was unbelievable. Like every time Brock, they forced him to play, drop back. He couldn't scramble. We all know Brock's been really good with his legs, but Spags knows. Remember the other day, Spags was like, oh, there's nothing he can't do. This man studied that film, and he says, as long as we make him drop back and we take away his tight windows and we take away his running lanes, we're going to force him to throw into man coverage, and the 49ers cannot beat man coverage because the receivers can't separate and beat man coverage. It was the same thing that happened in the Super Bowl, and now you got Debo out, Brandon Aiyuk out, Jennings out, so you're left with like Conley and Bell and, Ricky Pearsall in his first game and Cowing, and, they tried their best, but when you have those guys, if your starters can't separate, and then you got the backups, they can't separate against man coverage, and then boom, Spags was just bringing people. It wasn't even the D line. Like the Niners put all their pressure and all their focus on Chris Jones that they forgot about the linebackers. And those guys were coming in, tipping the balls. Like every time Brock would go back and throw, I saw a defender get his hand up, and almost every pass early on in the game was getting tipped. It was crazy. It was just not good. And they tip it. He'd throw picks. It was ugly. The defense of the Chiefs and Spags, they have the 49ers. They figured out. It was bad to watch. I'm sweating out in the field watching these guys. I'm like, oh, this is bad. So, yeah, field goals, not going to get the job done. My man X says Brock played scared. I think the whole Niners team is scared of Patrick Mahomes. They just don't – they fear him. They fear the Chiefs. I really do feel like the Chiefs are so scary to the Niners. I don't know what it is. Like the one quarterback that really beats the Chiefs is Burrow. I don't think he's afraid of the Chiefs, But I feel like the Niners are low-key afraid of the Chiefs. Like they mentally, I think it's a mental thing. They mentally can't get over the hump. And that's what they needed today. This was a game where they could get over the hump. I mean, it's not season over. They're 3-4. The Niners did this in 2022. They were 3-4, lost to the Chiefs in week 7. They went and got, Christian McCaffrey that year. Turned it around that season. It's not like it's over. They can go and beat the Cowboys next week and be 4-4 into the bye. But it's just the vibes are weird this year, And then if Brandon Aiyuk's, toasted out for the season, you're going to have to replace him. Debo's, dealing with his stuff this year. Jennings, he's got a hip injury. Hopefully he comes back. You expect Jennings to go crazy now when he comes back. So, you probably need to go get a wide receiver. And you definitely hope Christian McCaffrey could come back after the bye week. It's not over, but these losses are tough. And right now the Seahawks are back in first place. They won today. They beat the Falcons, and they're 4-3 now. So the Niners have some work. They got to win this next game. Enrique says the injury bug hit us hard this year. Yeah, it really has. But can't make that excuse every week. You can't because every other team's injured. The Chiefs are so banged up. They got a lot of injuries too. So I'm not going to sit here and say, it's all because of injuries. And a lot of people say 2020, vibes again. Yeah, to an extent, I believe this kind of resembles that year where everybody was getting hurt. It's like looks bad, but 3-4, it could be worse. I'm still going to be optimistic, but just the vibe of this team, it doesn't look the same as we have in the last couple of years when they started slow and they bounced back. I don't know. These guys mentally, I don't know if they've ever gotten over that Super Bowl yet. And I understand it is hard to get over that loss. That's tough. But that was a rough loss mentally, man. They needed this one again for the mentals, and they just couldn't get it today. So, my man Nav says our window's closed. What do you guys think? Is window closed? How do you feel about Kyle? What do you guys think? It's a lot of people say, and I in a sense, like, I wish the 49ers would have won that Super Bowl last year because I don't know how much more time they got with this team. Debo, how long is he going to be with this team? Trent Williams, Kittle, a lot of these players. Who's going to be back? This offseason, we're going to lose a lot of players, The writing's on the wall. Will they be able to sign Brock Purdy? Brock Purdy today didn't play good. Is this going to change his value moving forward? Like, he's got to continue to prove himself. I do like that he took accountability, but Brock's got to prove that he could beat these teams like Mahomes. And, last year on Christmas, they lost to the Ravens. Ravens ate them alive. And tonight, the Chiefs ate them alive. These big-time AFC teams have done good against the Niners, and they eat us alive. So, those are the teams you're going to play in if you get to the Super Bowl. So, Mario says, Brock doesn't deserve $60 a year. If he plays like he did today, he doesn't. That's for sure. Last year was our year. Enrique says Kyle plays are predictable at times. He is predictable, but specifically against the Chiefs, like, they know what's coming. They know exactly what it is. So crazy watching this, and just seeing the Chiefs. They sniff out almost every play. Like, they know. It's like they know what Kyle's gonna do. It's crazy to me. Like, watching this game live was just like, God, these guys were sitting there waiting for certain plays. It was wild. They knew it. Yeah, Carl says the only thing if Kyle gets fired, who would replace him? And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people calling for Kyle's head. You got to find a good replacement because as much as, a lot of fans don't like him, he has brought this team relevancy and, to a lot of winning seasons. Like I said, I still think this team could still make it to the playoffs and do some damage. But, if they play like this against elite teams, they're not going to be a Super Bowl team. So, but you just need a chance to get to the big dance. You just need a chance, get to the playoffs. But right now it's, not looking great. It's a 500 team after next week if they could beat the Dallas Cowboys. And you got a lot of soul searching. You got to figure out what you're going to do during the trade deadline and things like that. So, and these injuries have not been nice to the Niners. Kicker, you had your third kicker today. He missed an extra point. Hopefully Moody could come back. If he comes back, how's his ankle going to be? Is Hufanga going to come back? Safety's still been an issue. Although I like what I've seen out of Mustafa, man. He's tough. He's a gamer. I know Patrick Willis trucked him today, but he played his head off, man. Malik Mustafa played good. He's a rookie. Mahomes knows he's going to take advantage of the guy. So it is a tough season right now, but we've been through this. The Niners have been at 3-4, and they made it all the way. I think 2022, they made it to the NFC Championship. So it's not like it's going to be over, but they got a lot of soul searching. This team has to look in the mirror and figure out what the hell is this team about, man. So we need some fire to get us going. Hopefully CMC could come back and bring that fire we need. I hope so, Josh. I'm excited. I really do hope that Christian McCaffrey could come back and just be that juice. He was a couple years back. He was the juice when they traded for him, and maybe he could be that juice this year. But it's a lot of pressure on Christian McCaffrey. Hopefully he will be healthy, ready to go. He's eyeing a return after the bye week. So, let's hope that it comes true. But when he goes out there, when Christian McCaffrey plays, is he going to be able to go through the season and endure it and play the same way he wanted? He was able to play last year, that won him the Offensive Player of the Year. Like, is he going to be able to do that? Only time will tell. So, 49ers throwback says, I don't understand the Brock Purdy hate. CJ Stroud didn't have a good game today. A lot of people hate Brock, they're always going to hate him. They're waiting for him to fall down. I think there's a lot of fans that are, happy about Brock. I know he had a bad game. It is what it is. A lot of quarterbacks have bad games and they bounce back. But the Chiefs just fucking own the Niners, man. I wasn't too bad. A lot of people were like, oh, Brock this, Brock that. He's tough. He's terrible. It's a bad game, man. He tried his best. I don't think the Niners were going to win this game if they had all three of their healthy receivers, Jennings, Brandon Aiyuk, and Debo, just because the Chiefs had us figured out. They had Brock Purdy figured out. Niners can't beat man coverage, and the Chiefs know it. They brought the blitzes when they needed to. The Niners just went into this game against the team that literally owns them and knows exactly how to stop Brock Purdy. I still think Brock's a great quarterback, and I think he's still going to be one of the top quarterbacks when it's all said and done this year, as he was earlier coming into this game. But, the one thing I do have to say is, all week there was the discourse. It was everybody saying, oh, Brock's better than Patrick Mahomes. He's playing as good as him. And everybody's comparing the stats. And I kept saying, I was like, just chill, man. Just take it back a little. Take it back. Because everybody, oh, Brock Purdy. Look at these stats. He's doing better than Patrick Mahomes. And again, Patrick Mahomes didn't have like the greatest game today. But he's still Patrick Mahomes. He's still the guy you compare everybody to. You're going to get compared to him whether you like it or not if you're a quarterback in this league. But people are starting to say Brock's better than Patrick. Brock's better than Patrick. Can't do that yet. You can't do that. Patrick Mahomes is the MVP of the league. He's won Super Bowls, Super Bowl MVPs. You can't do that yet. And I knew that was going to come back to bite the Niners a little bit because I knew Patrick didn't play and make the plays he needed to when he needed to, because that's what the 49ers have had a hard time doing, is stopping Patrick Mahomes when they absolutely need to. And today was no different. So Renee says, I could hear it in your voice. This one hurts. Really hurts. Yeah, it sucks. You don't want to see the Niners lose to the Chiefs. At least for once, can we beat the damn Chiefs? It's tough. It is painful. A couple years back, Niners were owned by the Seattle Seahawks. Remember, Russell Wilson used to own the damn Niners. And I hate it. It kind of feels the same. It's like you wake up, you anticipate the game, and it's going to be a tough one, and you just want to win at least this game. I know it's a regular season game, but it means something, because, again, mentally they need to get over the hump. And, I go to the game, I'm out there, and I'm just like cheering my head off. And then couple minutes into it, it's like, oh, shit, here we go again. And you just see the same things that you've seen in the past, and then it happens again. And it's like, come on, man, what do we got to do? So, yeah, this one hurts, man. This one definitely hurts. You want to see the Niners win, regardless of who they're playing. But they've had a lot of tough losses this year already. It's been a frustrating season. It's been a stressful season. They're 3-4. You lost to the Vikings. Okay, whatever. They're a really good team this year. I get it. But you had a chance to win that game. Arizona, you shouldn't have lost that game. The Rams, you shouldn't have lost that game. And then today, the Niners had a chance to win it, and then they just pack it up and blow it again, And it's like they make mistakes. Special teams. Like, did you see Mitch Wishnowski's onside kick at the end? Like, come on. It's got to be the worst onside kick I've ever seen in my life. That's got to be the worst attempt ever. What were you doing, Mitch? What the hell are you doing, Mitch? Like, special teams selling out every week, man. Too many points. Ray-Ban says Sorensen's got to go. I mean, Spags just ran circles over the Niners. The Niners wish they had a defense coordinator like Spags. Sorensen ain't it. Although I got to say, the defense played really good at the start of this game. Like, for a long time, this defense was holding it down. So I'm not going to get mad at them. Patrick Mahomes makes those plays. He's Patrick Mahomes. But they let him hang around, and they got tired. The defense got tired because the offense couldn't score. They couldn't get it scored in the red zone. They couldn't get the ball running. They were throwing the interceptions, and when your offense is sputtering and your defense is on the field too long, you're going to get tired. And Patrick Mahomes eventually is going to get his big plays, and that's exactly what happened. So, no, shout out to the defense today. They did play good overall for the most part. There were some times where I was like, oh, God. Like Nick Bosa, man, played his ass off. Nick Bosa he had a day, and he got to Patty. And then you had Deommodore Lenoir, my guy. Deommodore Lenoir, fantastic game. And I was like, that's it. When Deommodore Lenoir got the interception, I was like, that's it, capitalize. He just couldn't capitalize on those plays, on those big turnovers. And Niners couldn't capitalize because their offense sputtered. It's 100% what happened. So it was heartbreaking, Carl. Special teams coordinator got to go, says B. Jones. Woo! Absolutely. This special teams is bad. I don't know why they don't score in the red zone. They can't score because they don't have Christian McCaffrey. He was their identity on the offense. Today's game was painful to watch. This California man, it was. Julia says thoughts on Trent Williams being ejected after he was retaliating and got hit first. Anytime you throw a punch at that point, and especially if you're, I don't want to say just because it's the Chiefs, but I think it was the right call. It sucked, but you can't be throwing punches, man. Especially at the end of the game. At that point of the game, they're gonna say, "Hey, man, don't. I know tempers are flaring. We're gonna throw your ass out of the game." But yeah, don't be messing with Trent. That was crazy. The guy got in Trent's face and Trent punched him. That's the last guy I don't want to mess around with. But did you guys see after he threw the punch, he went and signed an autograph for a fan? That's a classic moment. Yeah, that was actually pretty funny. You know, Trent gets the little signature. He's walking off the field after getting ejected. He's all right, I'll make some time for the. I'll sign you. I'll sign you. I'll sign the autograph. Um, Regardless if he gets hit first, can't retaliate, man. You can't do it. You just can't be throwing punches, man. It's frustrating. I get it. It's frustrating. We aren't first in the division. No, we are not. Throwback. Seattle won today. They beat Atlanta. Actually, I was surprised they beat Atlanta. They won, and they're 4-3. We got to beat Dallas next week. Absolutely. Should we be in panic mode? Says Robert. Not yet. I know it's crazy. A lot of people were asking me today after the game. They're like, "Yo, were we panicking yet?" I said, "I'm sick, but it's an AFC game, so it doesn't hold a lot of weight, really. Niners got to win the NFC games. They have to win the NFC West games, and they got to win next week against Dallas. So we're not panicking yet. If the Niners can make it to 4-4 at the bye, they'll be in good shape. Well, not good shape, but they'll be in better shape than than they are right now. So I'm not panicking yet. There's still a long season. They still got half of the season to go after next week. So if they lose next week, yeah, we start panicking. But if they can win next week and be 4-4 at the bye and make some big moves at the trade deadline, I think we'll be okay moving forward. But I still think this is going to be a 10-7 team right now, just the way it's going. That's what it seems like. But maybe they'll be better than 10-7. Maybe they can go and win, a couple more games than 10, and make a big run. But it's going to be tough. It gets tiring. That's the other thing is this team has made it to NFC Championship, Super Bowl, deep playoff run after deep playoff run. It catches up with you. It does. It does catch up with you. So just got to keep pushing. I know they're getting tired. I know they're getting injuries, decimated with injuries, but they gotta keep pushing. And I'm not ready to panic just yet. I've seen this team come back from a lot worse. Again, 2022, this team was 3-4 after a Week 7 loss to the Chiefs. Right now, we're 3-4 after a Week 7 loss to the Chiefs. So not panicking just yet. I've seen the same story before. So give us a couple more weeks. If they start losing those games, we're cooked out. So, yeah, the game was disgusting. Josh says 11-6 record. I can see it. Next week's big. Next week is must-win game no matter what. You can't lose to the Cowboys. You cannot. At this point, hoping for a wild card spot, says Renee. Yeah, wild card for sure is what we're looking for. Lions right now are unbelievable. Even without Hutch, they went out and beat the Vikings. Lions are good. Lions are a good football team. The NFC North, Packers are a good football team. My man Mario says Walker played with the flu and Debo couldn't. Yeah, I know. I saw that. That boy Debo, he better be throwing up bubble guts, shits, everything, because players play with the flu. I thought he was gonna have an MJ flu game. I literally thought, I was like, oh, this is a perfect game. Debo gonna come out. He gonna have a flu. He must have been really sick if he couldn't play against the Chiefs today. That sucks. If the Rams can lose 8 straight games against the Niners and eventually win, the Niners can beat the Chiefs eventually too. One of these days. Miguel says Brock Purdy needed to do more. Yeah, 100%. He didn't play good today. They took away his ability to use his legs, though. They forced him to throw against man coverage. Like, that's the thing. You got to give credit, and I hate to do this. You got to give credit to the Chiefs because they figured out the Niners. They know exactly how to stop. They know, okay, there's no CMC. We just stop the run. And Mason came in this game with a banged-up shoulder. He played as hard as he could, a valiant effort. But the Niners' run game was non-existent for most of this game. There was a few big runs for Mason, but the Niners were stuffed. You take away the run game, they're going to force you to drop back, and they close those lanes. Those linebackers were coming off the sides, and again, the defense or the Niners' offense was trying to focus on Chris Jones, and the Niners couldn't get to the outside lanes, and Brock Purdy couldn't scramble. He couldn't scramble today. They forced him to drop back. They were throwing people in his face. Every time Brock dropped back, there was someone in his face. He didn't have the opportunity to scramble today. And on the flip side, the 49ers continue to struggle against a mobile quarterback. Patrick Mahomes made their life a living hell when he started to scramble. Once he started to use his legs, I was like, fuck, this is it. It's over. The moment he hit that run to the side where he had Fred Warner miss, and then he sits there and he fakes the. I hate that play because I saw it. I was like, oh my God, how do you? He faked the pitch and they bid on it. How do you fake the pitch? This man, he did this. And the defense was like, oh, he can fake the pitch. Oh, shit, he's still running. And he runs to the sideline, and then a couple plays later on a fourth down, this man parts the sea like he's Moses. Just go, oh, parted that shit like Moses, runs up, gives a little truck stick to Mustafa, and he looks at him like, who are you? Who are you, rookie? Made my life living. I was sick. Yeah. Ray says, real talk, Chiefs have our number, plain and simple. They do. 100%, man. Oh, I'm so sick that the Niners lost this game today. So sick. Renee says, if you see that teams have figured us out, why can't Kyle see this? That's a great question. I mean, he studies the film. Maybe he thinks, I got it. And then when the game plays, he's like, ooh, I don't got it. That's it, man. Teams got them figured out. These AFC teams, the Niners struggle against the AFC. That's it. Go look at the Ravens game last year. They cooked us. 3 interceptions. Chiefs today, 3 interceptions. Well, actually, I think against the Ravens, they threw 4 interceptions last year, if I remember correctly. Bengals last year, 8 Purdy alive. Browns. AFC teams have really, really, really hurt us over the last couple of years. There's a couple of moments too when Kyle didn't go for 2, when he settled for a field goal. He's not aggressive enough sometimes. Against the Chiefs, you got to score touchdowns in the red zone. And again, red zone was just very, very, very bad today. And that has been one of the biggest themes of the season. Red zone play, very bad. Very bad. Today was today was probably the worst red zone performance of the Niners this year. It was so bad. Just like interceptions, failed to score touchdowns, kicking field goals. It was bad today. And I knew it. If you can't score touchdowns in the red zone against the Chiefs, they're going to beat you. So, welcome to the NFL moment, Do I think we need another kicker since he missed extra point? If we get a 4th kicker, I'm going to be sick, man. I mean, he made his field goals. He made a 55-yarder, so that was good. I mean, he missed the extra point. In the end of the day, the missed field goal, the missed extra point didn't cost us because we still couldn't stop him when we needed to. But, yeah, if we have to get a 4th field goal, or a 4th kicker, man, I'm going to be sick. That second interception was horrible. That was the worst because you're right. There was momentum. The Niners were driving, and I think they had a chance to really score on that drive, and then boom, he just read it wrong. They said, Ronnie Bell may have run the wrong route, but Purdy said it was on him. Whatever the case is, that was a horrible interception, and it really stalled us. That was the worst one. And then in the end, that third one in the red zone, that was the gut punch. I saw that. I was just like, oh, that's it. It's over. So. Thoughts on next week? Niners better win. Yeah, those last 2 interceptions, they suck, David. They were rough, man. Another week in the slums, says Reject. God, unbelievable. We in the slums this week. This was depressing, but the overreactions online never failed to annoy. Yeah, people are definitely frustrated after this one, but I don't know if there's a lot of overreaction. This was a bad loss, plain and simple. Even Kyle said we got our ass kicked. I don't think there's a lot of overreactions today. I think people are being 100% with their reactions this week. Like, it doesn't look like a Super Bowl team after today. You're playing the defending Super Bowl champs. This is a rematch of what you saw in the Super Bowl, and the Niners got absolutely cooked. But, you do have to put some, what's the word I'm looking for? Contacts in there. And I know the Niners had 3 injured wide receivers. It doesn't matter because, again, Niners still could have won this game. But it does make a difference. It was hard for those receivers to do much out there. That was tough. When Debo was gone, I was like, okay, they're gonna have to lean on BA. He makes that big drop, and then when he got hurt, I was like, oh God. Like I saw the replay because when you're watching live, it was hard to really see bang bang. And then of course I see the highlight, a couple minutes later when it was posted, and I see it, I was like, that's ACL. I just had that feeling, and it was rough, man. It sucks. So. Nick Wright and Colin Cowherd gonna have a blast tomorrow. Fuck, yeah, you're right. Huh. The media is gonna go crazy. That's it. The media is gonna have a great day. And again, Patrick Mahomes didn't play the greatest today, but he got the win and he made the plays that mattered. Purdy didn't, and the media is going to give him hell tomorrow. So. Fire Kyle, don't pay Purdy. That seems okay, Susan. I see what you're saying. People are saying I haven't seen everything today because I've been live and everything, but every week is fire Kyle. Every week, if the Niners lose, that's going to be the reaction on Twitter. The don't pay Purdy, I'm not on board on that one. He had a bad game today. I still think he's great, but yeah, he does have to prove himself again against these top defenses in the AFC. He's had a hard time, but again, I think a lot of it's scheme. Defense, what they're doing in terms of Kyle Shanahan and his play calling, but I still love Brock Purdy, man. I can't see the Niners without Brock right now. I just who the hell are they going to get at quarterback if they don't have Brock? You know what I mean? So, shady about to be on us. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be on the Niners next tomorrow. Julia says whenever Campbell was on the field, the Niners defense looked a lot better. Nothing shocking about this. That is absolutely shocking. Just give Purdy time. He will stand up for us. Yeah, I love Purdy, man. It was a bad game. Again, the reason that, I'm not too worried about Purdy's performance today, it was bad. But Spags has this guy, the Niners, figured out. Like he sat there the other day, and he gave Brock Purdy a gushing review. Oh, he can't do anything. Oh, I love Brock Purdy. He's so good. You turn on the film, the quarterback is it. He was glazing him. And I told you when we were live last week, I said, look, Spags is trying to soften Brock Purdy. He's trying to make him like, oh, you hype from Spags. Oh, yeah. It's all part of the plan. Trying to hype him because Spags knew. He watched that tape. He had it figured. He's like, I can't wait. I'm going to make this guy look like an idiot. And Spags did. Spags is the best defense coordinator in the NFL, and you saw what happened. He turned on the tape, and he figured it out, and he had the game plan to take out Brock. That's exactly what happened today. So, yeah, Kyle will never learn. But, some silver linings before we leave here today. Ricky Pearsall played football 50 days after being shot. That was cool. He got a standing O. That was a great moment. I wish they would have won. I wish he would have been able to enjoy a dub. He'll get a dub eventually. Jacob Cowan made some nice plays. They needed somebody to step up because all the receivers were hurt. And that was good. Malik Mustafa, he played his ass off. Other than that, there wasn't much to be happy about. So you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Tomorrow's miserable Monday. And we'll see. Again, Brandon Aiyuk, we didn't talk about this too much. Let's talk about this for 5 minutes and then I'll leave. Brandon Aiyuk, they fear he tore his ACL. I mean, if you look at the replay, he definitely tore that shit. It was bad. They're going to have to get some MRIs. You have to wait for the swelling to go down and you get a couple of, different imaging tests and then maybe to confirm it. But it's all but, I mean, again, it's pretty much looks like it's over. And if he does definitely have a torn ACL, his season's over. And that's unfortunate. Brandon Aiyuk, this man, all offseason trying to get paid. It was a, well-publicized contract extension, the drama. He got paid the $30 million, didn't perform well, and then now he got a potential season-ending injury. What a horrible story for Brandon Aiyuk, man. That's tough. I mean, I don't want to wish injuries on anybody, but that's a horrible story. I don't know. I know a lot of people say he should have traded him earlier. Karma. I saw a lot of comments saying all that stuff. At the end of the day, man, I just hope he's okay and he can get over this because They paid him a lot of money. He's going to have to stick with this team, and I hope he could come back and play at a high level. That sucks. So, oh, my man Julius says when Campbell was off the field, not on the field. That's what I was going to say. I was like, that is shocking. Yeah, it is. It's not shocking when Campbell's off the field. They play better. So, he got his money. He did, man. Ah, unbelievable. How about that interception from who? From Kalia Campbell or Kalia Davis. That was a good interception. That right there, when they got that big man interception, when Kalia Davis had that interception, I was like, Niners might have. I was so hyped. I was like, oh my god, big man interception, little tip drill, picks it off. I was like, man, they had Mahomes rattled early on. I'll tell you what, they did have Mahomes rattled. That big man interception was so nice. Shout out to Kalia, man. That's a dope player. You know, he's come a long way from the injuries and everything. So, you know, it was nice to see him make a big play. And I really thought the Niners were going to be able to capitalize on those penalties. They just couldn't. But yeah, that was a nice play from Kalia. That was definitely a nice play. So, time for Lynch to give the Titans a call on the receivers. They're definitely going to call somebody. They need some. I mean, it's crazy. We had all these wide receivers coming into the season. They go and draft wide receivers, and now they still need a wide receiver at the trade deadline. DeAndre Hopkins, maybe. Oh, he blocked me on the IG. Maybe he'll unblock me one of these days. Defense was overwhelmed when offense wasn't clicking, Raymond. Yeah, that's what we talked about earlier, that I think they just got tired and they got overwhelmed after baking in the heat and you're making those interceptions, you're making those big plays, and the offense is not helping you and doing their part. Eventually, a guy like Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Spags, these guys are going to figure you out. And on the offense, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are going to figure out a way to move the ball down your throat. Kareem Hunt, the Niners couldn't stop. He was like a bulldozer. This guy, every time, he's getting like 5 yards. Kareem Hunt was just bulldozing the Niners. And then over the middle, third down. So, yeah, absolutely. Defense, they did their part early on in the game, and then at the end, they just got too tired. So, anyways, y'all have a blessed rest of your night, man. Take care. I love you guys. Even if we lose, we still go Niners, no matter what. Next week, we got to get a win against Dallas Cowboys, or I will be absolutely – I might have a heart attack if they don't. I love you guys. Have a good night. Go Niners. Bang, bang. Not again.